Hi, this is Tim Best Buds, my non-objective opinion on People's Radio United. Today we're going to be talking with Hadi Elis um, about things going on in Turkey, and especially with the Kurds. We're mainly talking about the Kurds today. Things that are going on in Turkey, Iran, Syria, Iraq, pretty much the Middle East, and how they pertain to the Kurds. So let's get started. Hi, how are you doing, Hadi?
Hi, thank you.
Thanks. It's good to have you on. So yeah, why don't you tell people a little bit about you and what you do first, and then we'll get into, or maybe if you want to, right after that, you can get into like who the Kurdish people are and what their history is, kind of briefly to get people caught up who might not already know.
The Kurds are an ancient people descended from Medes, M-E-D-E-S, Medes. Actually, it's also cited in Bible about the Medes and the Babylonians and Assyrians. Some Bible prophecies mentions the Medes that in the future dark ages they will be fighting the evil. So it's pretty much what we are seeing in the Middle East today. Kurdistan, with its population around 50 million, it's over 580,000 kilometers square. Kurdistan is divided between Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. The half of the Kurdish land and Kurdish population lives in Turkey. The next is the Iranian Kurdistan, around 12 million people. And then Iraqi Kurdistan, around 6 million people. And then the Syrian Kurdistan, around 2.5 million people. Kurdistan was divided first at the 15th century between Ottoman Empire and the Persian Empire. Since then, Kurdistan is divided. After the World War I, with creation of Iraq and Syria out of the Ottoman lands, when the French and British occupied Middle East, Kurdistan divided to 4. And none of those states recognized Kurds as a separate ethnic people. They did not grant Kurdish ethnic, linguistic, cultural rights, so Kurds can practice their own culture and language and traditions. Especially Turkey denied Kurds. There is no such a people. They are mountain Turks and illegalized speaking Kurdish language. From 1923, when the Turkey established, till 1984, when the Kurdish political party with the name of PKK, Kurdistan Workers' Party, started fighting against Turkish army, Turkish government, Turkish racist oppression and its policies. But the Kurdish issue became known because of the Saddam Hussein regime used chemical weapons in Iraqi Kurdistan. His regime used 29 times, but only Halabja made international headlines. 5,000 people killed, over 10,000 injured by the chemical weapons. It was during the Iran-Iraq war. CNN covered it very lively, daily during those days. And since then, the Western public knows about Kurds. And whenever they say Kurds, actually everybody thinks about Iraqi Kurds, but actually they are not even a quarter of the Kurdish population. And Iraqi Kurds, in their current position, they are not representing the Kurds in general. Iraqi Kurdistan is also recognized by Iraqi constitution. It's a territorial government. And they are doing okay with their economy, with their trying to set up their own administration. They're just 20 years old. They're still in process making. Once in a while they talk on declaring independence, but look like the conditions to declare independence is not mature yet. Turkey on the one side, Arab countries on the other, and Iran on the other side, they are all against it. But if Europeans, NATO, USA supports the Iraqi Kurds up to a certain degree, then they will be confident to declare their independence.
Yeah. So that kind of brings me to a question I was going to ask later, but you touched on it now. What there's Peshmerga in Iraq, and then there's the PKK. What's the difference between those two groups?
Peshmerga is the name of the fighters. We called Kurdish freedom fighters Peshmerga. And Peshmerga, because Iraqi Kurdistan was on the international news since 1960, and the Kurds in Turkey, Kurds in Syria, Kurds in Iraq, before let's say 1980, they were calling their fighters Peshmerga too. But then the Kurds in Turkey, the PKK, their fighters they call guerrillas. In Spanish, the partisan fighter. Guerrillas. PKK they do not call their fighters Peshmerga, not to create confusion, not to mix up with the others. So PKK Peshmergas, KDP Peshmergas, PYD Peshmergas. So it become more difficult for the Westerners to understand, I believe. So it's okay to call PKK fighters, PKK guerrillas, and Iraqi Kurdish fighters Peshmergas.
In Iraq, they don't support the PKK, but they do support the Peshmergas. Am I correct on that, or am I wrong?
Iraqi Kurdistan, they know Peshmerga as their fighters. Many of the people, once in a while, they join the Iraqi Kurdish political parties and they become their fighters. So almost everybody served as a Peshmerga in Iraqi Kurdistan. It's very common. And they support their Peshmergas because this is their freedom fighters. That's very natural. It's very normal. Iraqi Kurdish public, they support PKK too. But the Iraqi Kurdish political parties and KRG government, Kurdistan regional government, they are the one keeping distance with PKK because they are afraid of Iran and afraid of Turkish government. So they are keeping distance.
Okay. The PKK has women soldiers. This is a question somebody actually asked me to ask Steve Shagwell, who's another host on our show, I Fought the Law.info. And he was wondering, he just wanted to get more information on the PKK and the women soldiers and how in that region, religious-wise and everything, that works out. Like, is there a pushback or are they like heroes or,
The Kurdish fighting groups during the Ottomans, during the Persian government, they always had female fighters among themselves. But they were not with a higher percentage represented. It was the PKK who created women-only fighting units. And after the Syrian Civil War, 2011, YPG followed the same tradition of PKK, and they set up women-only, female-only fighting units. We call them with the YPJ initials, Women Freedom Brigades. And YPJ is maybe 5,000 female fighting force, and YPG is mixed, male-female mixed force. It's maybe 50,000 strong. PKK give special status to the woman to be represented in PKK ranks as a administrative and some other areas that they are involved in political struggle. And after 2000, PKK started co-chairmanship. For every PKK committee, there is male and female chairs, co-chairs.
Yeah, the PKK said they stand for women's rights, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, women liberation is one of the main pillars of PKK.
That's a great thing.
They strongly believe in it, and they strongly advocate it, and they are trying to educate people that if woman is not free, the society is not free.
That's true. Well, let's. You wanted me to bring up Joseph Townsend and I think you said he's a general who said that the YPG.
Yes,
Oh, go ahead. You can explain.
Stephen Townsend. He's a lieutenant general, and he's in charge of the OSIR in Iraq. I know the initials, but I don't know the full opening. And he visited Kobani, where the YPG and YPJ fighting against ISIS and Ahrar and Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda and all other groups. And this is almost a year that Turkey is accusing YPG with being a terrorist organization, although Turkey does not have any proofs. If anything, that it will be fake and fabricated. And this general, after visiting the area, doing a field visit, he said he did not see any clues, any proofs, any evidences that YPG is a terrorist organization.
Yeah,
this is refuting the Turkish claims that the Kurds are doing terrorism.
Yeah, well, why do you think the Turks, as well as others, even the U.S., I think, maybe in most places, believe the PKK is a terrorist organization, and the YPG and and all that?
Because Turkey denied the Kurdish rights, and when PKK started fighting against Turkey, claiming the Kurdish rights to be granted, Turkey accused PKK with terrorism to delegitimize PKK's demands. PKK never did terrorism, never hijacked an airplane, never attacked a European diplomat, never did any suicide bombing. So whatever Turkey is saying is all those, like there is some cases that the whole village were attacked and 30 plus people killed. At the time, Turkish government accused PKK doing it, but after everything, all the court cases exhausted in Turkey, they went to European Court of Human Rights, and over there, it's proven that the massacres claimed or accused that PKK did killing Kurdish civilians, in fact, were done by the Turkish special forces. So Turkish army killed Kurdish civilians, blamed PKK, so they will have evidences, they will have proofs to accuse PKK with terrorism.
Yeah.
If we can have a fact-finding missions or even war crimes tribunal for Turkey, then all this will be proven that PKK never did terrorism.
Yeah, Turkey. I was going to say Turkey is pretty supportive of ISIS, and they I mean they've been killing Kurds and claiming that they've been killing ISIS and doing that for a long while now.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
When YPG kills ISIS militants, they pick up their IDs. So we know that fighter or that terrorist came from Libya, came from Morocco, came from Chechnya, came from Afghanistan, came from East Turkestan, from China. You know, the way they look, the ID they carry and other stuff. And also their passports stamped by the Turkey, they were coming through Turkey. And some estimate says there are over 50,000 people came to Turkey, and from Turkey they came to Syria. It is impossible for Turkish intelligence not to notice this amount of people coming and going through there. Also, there are maybe 10,000 Turks in ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Nusra, and other groups from Turkey. They go to Syria to fight against Kurds. They believe in jihad. They believe in, caliphate, the Sharia state to be declared. Now, some of those people killed, they have Turkish IDs. And we know that these people being with the Turkish army and Turkish intelligence, Turkish special forces, Turkish police. So there are lots of evidences that Turkey can be proven that Turkey is involved in sponsorship of terrorism, supporting Islamist terrorism in Iraq and Syria.
Yeah, Turkey is is a NATO member, a member of NATO, and they have hospitals in Turkey that treat wounded ISIS agents. They
Yes,
have
there are lots of
they they
pictures.
they transfer ISIS soldiers and militants across different borders using UN vehicles. Sometimes,
They are using ambulances, using other humanitarian organizations,
yeah.
but they are involved in sponsoring, supporting Islamist terrorist organizations.
Why do you believe that NATO's letting this happen?
Because Turkey is lying to NATO, Turkey is lying to Europeans, Turkey is faking documents, many other things to get away with it. And because Western governments, NATO member states, they have investments in Turkey, there's a financial and trade deals. So they are afraid of their investments, to get damaged. So they are keeping quiet until this become very serious issue that their investments will be gone anyway. But this is a matter of time. What I believe is in 2023, Turkey will be 100 years old. A centennial celebration will set. And this current Islamist government, AKP, Justice and Development Party, the party of the Turkish President Erdogan, is making Turkey gradually a Sharia state. Turkey is becoming an Islamic republic like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia. And to achieve that, they have to stop the Kurdish opposition. The Kurds in Turkey are very strong. The Kurds in Syria, Kurds in Iraq are very strong. They are armed and they are fighting Islamist terrorist organizations. And it is killing the Turkish sponsorship project that through using global Wahhabi terrorist organizations, that Turkey trying to change the geopolitical world order and trying to become one of the major world power. What we call neo-Ottomanism, that they want to revive the Ottoman Empire. They want to rule the Turkish land from Turkey to the Central Asia, that they call it Turkic nations like Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and other countries. There is so many stans. And Turkey claimed to be their natural leader. And Turkey claims that they will all be under the hegemony of Turkey. And Turkey will be a major power because of representing all these Turkic nations. They think this is their God-given right.
Yeah, I think most groups who try to take power and oppress people believe it to be their God-given right, whatever deity they follow. It's pretty messed up. What you said earlier that the Kurdish people were separated into four different countries: Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Turkey. Are they even though they're divided, are they united in those four areas? I mean, do they help each other, or are they separated by philosophy or ideology or something else as well?
Now, the Kurdish political parties in Syria and Turkey and Iran, they cooperate. They are very close to each other. But the Iraqi Kurds, they act independent. They do not participate as they should, because they are the free ones. They have their territory and their administration recognized by the Iraqi constitution. They are also recognized by the major European powers, NATO members, and USA. They can play a very positive and very strong role, but they are shy doing that.
Yeah. Another host from a show called The View Up Here, Canadian Glenn, an awesome guy. He sent a question in that said, "How will the battle for the Syrian city of Raqqa play out in the end in Europe? What do you believe is going to happen there? I know there's Kurdish people in the fight." involved. So what do you think is going to happen with that?
No, Raqqa is the capital city of ISIS. ISIS stands for Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. But what they mean by Iraq and Syria, actually they mean Syrian Kurdistan and Iraqi Kurdistan, not the whole Syria Arab land and whole Iraq Arab land. Look where are the Islamist terrorists are fighting. They are trying to occupy Kurdish land. What happened at Kobani was, or in Sinjar, Yazidi people, they try to occupy Kurdish territories because Kurds, they don't have their own state. Kurds, they don't have air force. We don't have national armies. We don't have, they thought that we don't have the capabilities to fight them back. When ISIS occupied Mosul, they received tons of U.S. weapons. Those U.S. weapons supposed to be given to Iraqi army. But someone told ISIS, go to Mosul and get U.S. weapons. Guess who? Saudi and Turkey. Saudis, they were connected with the ex-Ba'athist Saddam officers, that many of those ex-Ba'athist Saddam officers are today in ISIS. That's how the ISIS, well organized, because other people were already experienced in army, personnel training, administrative, financing, banking issues. How ISIS were able to set up an oil trade with the Turkish Prime Minister's son-in-law and many other Turkish ministers and government officials. Someone very experienced on those issues come to the power in ISIS, making those possible. Now the Kurdistan with PKK, YPG and other forces, they pushed the Islamist terrorist organizations out of Kurdistan. And now you don't see, after Aleppo, you don't see the Islamist terrorists are really fighting with Assad regime, or they are fighting with the Iraqi government. Iraqi government is Shia.
Yeah.
What will happen if ISIS lose Raqqa? Then ISIS will not have capital city. They will lose their centralized administrative powers. They might look for somewhere else. Then we have to find their next capital city, their next administrative center to destroy it. But if we kick them out of the Middle East, many of those supposedly Western allies like Saudis, Jordan, Egypt, Turkey, Lebanon, they do not give them a chance to survive, then they cannot survive. But some of those states in the Middle East are backing them up, especially Turkey, Qatar, and Saudi. That's how they survive. We have to stop state support to Islamist terrorist organizations. And if NATO, USA stops Turkey from doing that, that's half of the job.
Yeah, it just seems so obvious to me. Like I think there's some way that I'm almost positive there's some way the Western countries are benefiting from this in a big way. I know for a fact they use ISIS here in the United States to take our rights away, and everybody's a terrorist, everybody's a threat. Watch your neighbors. If you see something, say something. And it's great for the people in power to be able to control us and monitor us and surveil us a lot better. But I'm sure there's even more than that to it. As far as what the Western countries have to gain by not stopping Turkey and not just shutting down ISIS when they had the chance many times.
And maybe it's a topic for another talk, but
yeah,
there is a life cycle of the political oppression. Every 2 centuries, every 3 centuries, there is oppressive regimes. They become very strong. Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, Persians, Ottomans, Russians, and then now USA, becoming more into it. But Turkey is oppressive regime, Saudi Arabia is very oppressive regime, Pakistan is very oppressive regime, China is very oppressive regime. And they are doing this way before, the USA started saying, if your neighbor sees something, say something, be careful. But the Islamist terrorists are a very real threat. The guy grabbing a gun, going to a shopping mall, starts shooting people. I mean, I will tell everybody, call police. I will tell, if you see something bad, something suspected, your neighbor, I'm sorry, yes, your neighbor, but, you don't want the guy come into your house and kill all your, family.
Yeah, I understand that, but
It's come to a point that these guys are over the Twitter, over the Facebook, over the YouTube, publishing their videos. They are trying to brainwash people. They are telling people to do lone wolf attacks, and people doing it.
yeah, no,
So
but in the United States we have people who are killing Hindu people from India and Pakistan, and they're surrounding mosques with guns, and they're just anyone who's Middle Eastern or darker, they're terrified of, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you see somebody plotting a terrorist attack, then obviously do something about it and save some people's lives. But just because somebody's dark getting on a plane and speaking in Arabic or something, they report them. I mean, it's crazy.
no, that's an educational issue. That's the international media, U.S. media job. They have to explain that, not every dark-skinned guy is an Arab, or any other language other than English that you don't understand is Arabic. Indian is a very, unique language, very unique culture.
Yeah,
India is big. It's 1.5 billion population. India has over 230 nations in it. India has 8 official languages. But, we have to educate people that Indians are not Arabs. Majority of Indians are not even Muslims.
yeah. We have to educate people that even Arabs aren't all terrorists. That's what it seems to be
Yes.
the consensus here for a lot of people. That's the
No, I mean,
problem.
Islam is not a unified religion. It's just like Christianity. There is, Lutherans, there is evangelists, there is Orthodox, there's Roman Catholics. Islam is too. You say Sunni, but actually they are divided among themselves another 5, 6 branches. Shia, even then Shia, they're divided another 5, 6 branches. And majority
Yeah.
of them are not supporting armed struggles to take over the world government. There is Sufi Islam. They believe in humanism. They believe everything is from God. You have to respect everything.
Yeah, I mean that's how I try to explain it. I've done it on this show before. I say that would be like saying the KKK is all Christians support the KKK. The people say all Muslims support ISIS and this and that. It's the same thing. Most Christians, I would say, hopefully wouldn't support the KKK, just like I would say most Muslims hopefully wouldn't support ISIS, and I know that's the case in reality. But our media, like you said, is the problem. They don't report it that way. They love to get the ratings and get people in fear, so they want to keep watching, and then they watch the advertisements and get them those dollars, and that's kind of like a big, the more shocking it can be, and more scary, and the more people will watch, the better for the media, which is the wrong. That's not real journalism.
We shouldn't expect honesty from the states. We shouldn't expect honesty from the international media. That's why there is Twitter.
Yeah,
That's why you and me talking, then we can tell the truth.
yeah. I guess that's why we're here, and a lot of other shows like this are here.
No, I mean, everybody wants to know what the people on the street thinking, and I am one of the person on the street, and I see my neighbors, I see my friends, I see my co-workers. I ride bus, I ride metro, I go to coffee shop, I see people, and I try to understand them too. And people ask me, "Where are you from?" I have a hat that says, I support Kurdish struggle and Kurdistan. And oh, you Kurdish? I say, sure, And what's going on? I try to explain. So we are always
Yeah,
interacting with people and say, why? I say, no, because they believe in it. They want it. They want to die for the cause. They die for the cause. If you have to shut him and kill him, too bad, because if he get the chance, he will do it to you. That's the issue. I mean, people from Western world, from UK, Belgium, Canada, USA, traveling to Turkey, going to Syria, getting the training, and they want to be Islamist terrorists. They want to fight killing people for the cause. They are, traveling 10,000, 15,000 kilometers. They are selling their valuables, for the adventure. They go. But once you join, life is very different. Many people regret. They want to come back. But once you come back, you are already damaged. And one day, you will be a member of a sleeper cell. You will say, you know what, I made a mistake again. I want to go back. I will do something. Then you become a lone wolf and, you do a suicide bombing. We have to have very strong and effective de-radicalization projects, de-radicalization programs, not only for the Muslims, for Christians and for the Jews and for the Hindus too, because religion in the wrong hands is always a strong weapon. And someone like Hitler or someone like Erdogan, someone like King of Saudi Arabia will always use it to their own benefits.
Yeah, every world leader uses religion because the people really believe. I mean, I know in those countries over there, the majority of people are born to believe the Muslim religion, and I know in this country here, most people are born to follow the Christian religion. But I mean, even Donald Trump uses, he had this whole thing where he became some Christian and he tries to get these followers and they just fully go for it. They're just, I mean, I guess, like, I don't believe in a lot of, or any of that stuff. So to me, it's kind of like silly that other people would, but I know people really do. And it's really, to believe anything blindly is never good. You should always try to.
Now in Turkey, the age of marriage for the girls lowered it to the 13 years of age. It's legal to get married. Also in Turkey, they changed a rape law. If someone rape a child or a girl, let's say on age of 13, 14, and if the guy says, I am okay to marry her because she's pregnant and I will have my baby from her, court grants them to have their families, to create a family, to get married.
Yeah, I read about that a while back. But yeah, the Bible says the same thing.
But how a rational mind can tell a rape victim to marry its rapist and for the rest of your life face the same person?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's disgusting.
But the Turkish government saying to the Turkish people, it's okay. And making all propaganda, all brainwashing techniques, make people believe this is okay.
That's
and
what they do.
You cannot do this in USA. You cannot do this in Canada. You cannot do this in the Christian countries. You cannot rape someone and then it's okay. If she says, okay, let's get married, you guys will get married. How I know the judge, the crown prosecutor, the police, and everybody not involved, putting pressure on the girl to get married and, get the guy out of the prison.
There are people in the USA, Christians, that believe that because the Bible does kind of command that a rapist marries the woman he raped and takes care of her or whatever, which is equally as disgusting. It's probably where Turkey got it.
I mean, 1 in a million rape victim will say, you know what, it's okay. But you cannot really generalize it.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever okay.
This is one of the issues. Now, many other laws like that changing in Turkey, transforming Turkey gradually to become a Sharia state. That's the whole point, that Turkey is not a NATO ally, not a US ally, not a Western ally anymore. That's how Turkey is deceiving NATO, deceiving the West, and using Islamist terrorists for its own agenda. And the Kurds are on the way, and Turkey is hate seeing Kurds spoiling their projects. But Kurds are too many. If you were 10,000, you massacre 10,000, your problem is finished. But the Kurds are 50 million. And the Kurds in Turkey are strong, fighting Turkish army. Also, there are Kurds outside Turkey. Now, Turkey is regionalizing the Kurdish war. Turkish army is in Syria. Turkish army is illegal in Syria. Turkish army is invading. It's occupying Syrian territory. Maybe in return, Syria can do the same to Turkey. Syria can send its own army to Turkey and say, you know what, I am occupying your territory. Supposedly, there is an international world order. Every nation state, its territory is holy. It's respected fully. That's why there is UN. That's why there is a non-aggression and respecting the territorial integrity, self-determination rights. It's all set up since 1643 Westphalia Treaty. The origin of the nation states goes back. But today, Turkey doesn't care. If Turkey doesn't care, then Kurds can act the same way. We don't care too.
Yeah. What do you think it's going to take for NATO and Western countries to wake up and see past Turkey's deception?
I mean, there will be a point, there will be a time that they will realize what's going on. It just has to, something serious or something, make them wake up from the sleep they are in. To boil water, you need to make it 100 degrees. When the water is 100 degrees, it's not a water anymore. It starts becoming a steam. It changes from quality to quantity. Now the changes in Turkey is maybe similar like that. The changes will coming to a certain level, certain stage that they will realize that they lost Turkey. The Turkey is not repairable. Turkey is a failed state, and it's at the point of no return. And then they will be serious about Turkey. They will put economic sanctions, political sanctions, diplomatic sanctions. They will try to save Turkey to, reverse its course, to come back to its secular, pro-West, the Turkey they used to know. But it's way too late now. Turkey already making new constitution, making new laws, new education system. Turkey has changed a lot. I am originally from Turkey. I lived in Turkey. I know the language, I know the culture. And Turkey under the Islamist government of AKP last 12, 13 years is not the Turkey that I used to know. Changed a lot. I remember the time that how Iran became an Islamic state, how Afghanistan became an Islamic state, how Algeria Islamist government came into power and become a problem. Now same thing happening in Turkey.
Yeah. What about the I know this happens every so often, throughout the last quite a few years, but what about the current seemingly threat that the U.S. might try to do something in Iran? How does that affect the Kurdish people if that were to happen?
I mean, Iran is another terrorist state and not recognizing Kurdish ethnic and linguistic rights, and Kurds in Iran fighting against Iranian government. And Iranian government is involved in state sponsorship of terrorism, and it's well documented that Iran is anti-USA. And Iran, is a big nation, that they have finance, they have technology, and they are at the point, I believe they already have the nuclear weapons, but they say, no, we don't, and USA is trying to sanction it and make a deal that Iran shouldn't develop a nuclear weapon program. And because Iran was under economic embargo, economic sanctions for so many years, Iranian economy, Iranian food programs, many other things that making life very difficult. So Iran wants ease all those. But even those during the sanctions, that embargoes, the Iranian government using agents sending Turkey, and they were bribing Turkish state officials, government officials, and Iran was able to receive whatever it needs from the Western world through Turkey. There is a case called Reza Zarrab. The guy is arrested in USA. He distributed $170 million in bribing the Turkish government officials, state officials, and he was getting whatever Iranian government asked from him.
Yeah.
He was asking the Turkish state officials to buy and give it to him, and they were playing with the custom papers, making fake papers, and they're delivering all the goods to the Iran. And if USA wants to use this against Turkey and against Iran same time, it's a very strong cause. It can give a very big headache to Turkey. It will damage Turkish-US relations for good.
Yeah. Kurds don't have a dominant religion, I don't believe. I'm wondering how what we talked about a couple minutes ago, how you said governments use people's religion. We both said that, and then you were talking about Turkey in general. How does that play out with Kurds who are Muslims? Do some of them support that, or do most of them just not?
The Kurds are majority Muslim.
Oh, are they? Okay, I didn't know.
Yes, but we are not a radical in Islamist philosophy, like Sharia state or create a Kurdish Islamic state and others. There are smaller groups here and there in Iraq and Turkey too, but they are negligible, not important. They don't have any power or any voice to that we pay attention to them. But Turkish intelligence, Iranian intelligence, Iraqi and Syrian intelligence, they try to use them to discredit Kurds. And some of the poor-minded people that believe in religion, and if government says, I am just like you, vote for me, they will vote. I mean, there are some section of Kurdish society voting for the governments in power. But they are also unhappy that government do not recognize Kurdish ethnic and linguistic rights.
Yeah. Would you say by definition there is a Kurdish genocide happening now?
Yes. I mean, even like it happened to me. The Turkish police came to my house for a raiding, seeking political materials, books, and Kurdish music cassettes and others. And I was talking to my sister-in-law in Kurdish, and the guy said, Kurdish is illegal, don't speak.
Wow.
I mean, to kill the language, yes, it's genocide, it's linguicide, it's ethnocide, all of them together.
I mean, the same thing here in the United States with the native people has been going on for hundreds of years. And I know the Palestinians are going through at least an apartheid, if not a genocide. It's just, it's horrible how we have all these countries and all these people, and we let this happen to certain people, and if it happened to other groups of people, there would be outrage. It's just, I don't know how to stop it, or if you have any ideas on what we could do to stop these atrocities, I'd be willing to listen.
I mean, we have the people's power. We demonstrate. We try to bring the truth out. We explain what is right, what is wrong, and we try to select people for the MPs or senators or representatives positions. We work with the political parties. If we don't like, we change. We create our own political party, and we come up with certain programs. We go to people and say, vote for us. Make us the party in power, and let's see, try us once too.
Yeah.
You don't have to vote for conservatives or liberals or social democrats all the time. But we have to show the people that we are an option. We are an alternative.
Yeah. Yeah, lately go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we have to have, like employment policies, monetary policies, banking policies, insurance policies, gender policies, that people will see activists as an alternative for the political offices.
Yeah,
the change is always possible. It will start somewhere, and then it will grow, and then it will cover everywhere.
Yeah, I always say we outnumber them. Why can't we all just get together and end this, and then we can dispute our differences later?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't vote, nobody will be elected. You vote for the right person. You involve. You become active.
Yeah, I'm more an
You
anarchist. I don't really care for governments, but I know I've been looking a lot into the Pirate Party. I kind of like their philosophy of building, a community from the ground up, and making sure everybody's taken care of and everybody's equal and full transparency and things like that. I kind of really relate to and think, or if we have to have a political party, something like that's more what could help the world, in my opinion, of course.
I mean, there will be political power, there will be economic power, and they will conflict. They will oppose each other. It's very normal. But we have to find a way how our harmony in society is possible. Once we know we can get that point, then things will start working in right direction. Our human evolution, our mind evolution, is still at that stage that we don't know exactly what we want. Up to a certain education, becoming an engineer, becoming an actor, becoming a political scientist, you're still missing the political consciousness, what you want with your life, how to vote, how to eat, how to live. You make a personal message, you make a personal journey, say, I want to live my life this way. I want to respect everybody. I want to live my life. I have only one chance to live this life, and I want to live it fully. So I want to create all the opportunities for myself to take the vocation, to help my kids, not to get sick, many other things. These are simple, but when you put all of them together, then you have a general theory, who you are, what you want to do, how you live.
Yeah.
But nobody will give you this education. This is a politicization process. You have to make your own personal journey. I mean,
Yeah.
I was forced by Turkish government to be an opposition. Because when I look at the Turkish government, I see evil, I see devil, I see everything bad. There is nothing good about them, absolutely.
I agree.
Child marriage laws, how to abuse the religion, how to use army, intelligence, how to not only to their own people, to the Western world, not only to the international organization that they are member, European Union or NATO. Wherever they go, I see they are doing it wrong way. And then I said, you know what, I must do something about it. So I became a political activist. I start telling the truth. I am blocked by the Turkish Minister of Foreign Affairs on Twitter. He is the
Yeah.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he's afraid of my tweets. He's blocking me. Come on, I mean,
They hate the truth.
what I can do? Well, because he knows I represent the truth and he cannot fight. So he's blocking me. I have a friend on Twitter, Mrs. Serena Shim's mother, Judith Paul.
I love Judith Poe. She's the one
And
that recommended I talk to you on here.
Mrs. Serena Shim, the press TV reporter, just like me, who witnessed the truth, that Turkey is sponsoring ISIS. And she was killed in a car accident, supposedly car accident. But Turkey does not want to investigate, and they don't allow U.S. government to investigate. But, her final days, her final tweets, her final news is all directing to it. So all the circumstantial evidences shows that Turkey is involved in her killing, in her death.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, this is only one of the known cases. God knows how many other over there, and we don't know. So we have to have a fact-finding mission about Turkey and ISIS cooperation, and then maybe after the fact-finding mission report, that we can present to UN and European Union and NATO, and they will say, you know what? Yes, Turkey is guilty. Turkey is guilty of sponsoring Islamist terrorism.
Yeah, there's been quite a few journalists just before Serena and after that were killed in Turkey, and they are the biggest prison for journalists anywhere, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'm being part Armenian. I know about the genocide and all that. And I know they won't even admit that it ever happened. They deny it, which is really horrible in my opinion. They can't even own up to their history. But yeah, Turkey just seems like such a horrible place from then till now for hundreds of years.
Yeah, but if they confess they did the genocides, they did the massacres, then they cannot claim to be poor. They cannot claim to have the caliphate. They cannot claim to have the Sharia. They want to say that they are perfect. But if you did a genocide, you cannot be perfect. If you do massacres, if you deny people's right, if you illegalize speaking Kurdish language, you cannot be a wise person. You cannot be a holy person. You cannot be a chosen person. But now the Turkish president is kind of saying that he is on a mission given by God. So he is a holy person. But if he says I did genocide, yes, I am part of it. I am guilty as much as my ancestors. Then he can have what he wants to, what he claims to.
Yeah, who do you think is the biggest threat currently to the Kurdish people? Would it be Iran or Turkey or somebody other than that?
I mean, Turkey is the biggest enemy of Kurds. Turkey is, even in the past, 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, it was forcing Iran,
Yeah.
Iraq, and Syria to cooperate on anti-Kurdish policies. The Kurds fighting Iraq, they want to get their rights. Turkey goes to Iraq and says, no, don't give the rights to the Kurds. The Syrian government wants to give rights to the Kurds. Turkey goes and says, no. Same thing with Iran. In 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini came. The Kurds were very strong. Kurds were almost getting constitutional recognition by the Khomeini regime. But something happened and Khomeini became very anti-Kurdish. And I am very sure Turkey is involved.
I'm like 100% sure. I mean, I pretty much knew that was the answer, but I mean, I was asking you because you know a whole lot more than I do. I've learned a lot on this interview so far. Uh, um, it's pretty great. What do you think? Do you think ISIS is going to be stopped anytime in the near future, or do you think they're going to keep
I mean,
going?
as an organization, we can stop ISIS. But what ISIS represent, that the Turks or the Arabs or the Persians should have a Sharia state, and they should have the caliphate, a right to right to have the caliphate to their nation. That idea will stay. But how to reform Islam? Islam has to make a peace with democracy. The way these Islamist governments are talking about democracy is very fake. They don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in respecting others. They believe only to rule, to have everything for themselves. And that's the problem.
Well, that's the problem with most religions. They all, I mean, even here in America, I see it heading very slowly, maybe picking up pace toward a theocracy of some sorts. I mean, these people make laws based on religion, violate certain groups of people's rights based on their religion. It's not based on anything else. And a lot of it is pretty much in line with the radical Islamic kind of stuff, that ISIS supposedly believes. Um, hating certain groups of people, degrading women, and they're so close. I don't understand how these people don't see the irony in their thoughts process and what they believe and what their supposed enemy believes. But yeah, I guess you're right. Whatever they call themselves or whatever they evolve into or pops up, it will be something along the same lines. But it'll keep moving forward as long as extremism exists, I guess.
The power behind ISIS, the governments, the states behind ISIS is the problem. They want ISIS to exist. And it's Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. They know they can use it as their own project to have the caliphate, to tell Western people that if there is a Muslim caliph and tells other people to stop it, they will listen to him, they will stop it. So they want a Western-friendly caliph. But the caliph will never be Western-friendly. That's the illusion. And if Erdogan becomes a caliph before 2023 and says, recognized by the Western governments, yes, he's the Muslim ruler of the Islamic world, but he is pro-USA, he's pro-NATO, he's okay, he's a moderate. But, there's no such a thing. We see what the Syrian moderates are doing.
So you think Erdogan is trying? He has a vision of what he wants to do, and he's trying to do that, or you think that's just a possibility of something that could happen?
No, he has a project. He's gradually implementing it.
So
he's very dedicated, very motivated to his cause. He's doing it.
He'd be like the new Hitler.
Yes.
He already is in a way, but I'm just saying he'd be like big time, like a real threat that way.
I mean, he's already cooperating with Russia. He's buying weapons from Russia. Which NATO member country can buy weapons from Russia? Turkey is already out of NATO with its politics and policies and behavior. But NATO does not have a disciplinary mechanism. NATO does not have a mechanism that they can kick out a member. If member wants to leave NATO voluntarily, yes. If not, they cannot kick him. They cannot kick Turkey out of NATO.
I didn't know that. I thought they could take a vote or do some kind of.
No.
Wow.
They have to amend NATO bylaws. They have to change something unanimously, and then they can say, okay, you can be our member. We can expel you when the majority of member wants it.
See, when I said I learned something, I meant it, because I always assumed that NATO just let these evil terrorist countries, United States included, just stay in there no matter what atrocities they do, because they're all kind of in it together. But if they can't kick them out, what is the purpose? I mean, eventually you're going to have some really, really, really bad people up in there.
During the Cold War, the anti-communist camp, they made the NATO in such a way that once you are in, you cannot go out. We want to count on you that you will stay anti-communist all your life.
I see. That makes sense now. Thinking back historically, because everything was really anti-communist.
I mean, yes, Russia made lots of mistakes in the past, and today's Russia has changed. It's different. But you cannot threaten Russia's strategic interest the way you threaten USA strategic interest, or Germans, or British, or Turkish, or Indian, or Chinese. Everybody will be very sensitive. So Russia is just acting very natural, sending their troops to Syria and fighting against Islamist terrorists. The fight supposedly done by the USA helping the Kurds. But if USA is not doing its job properly, of course, Russia will fill the vacuum.
Yeah. Do you think if there wasn't social media, the Kurds would have a lot less support and attention than they do right now?
Of course. Of course. And I'm on Twitter maybe 5-6 hours a day, and I have lots of friends and many people tweeting right from the region. Yeah. And some of the videos, it's fake. Some of the pictures is photo montage. But still, you can go to other sources to check if it is true or not.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
if they lie, it's only good for 15 minutes. You will eventually find out that someone is lying to you. You can always do cross-reference checks. If I tell you there is only 1 million Kurds in Turkey, you can Google it and you can find millions of entries about Kurdish population in Turkey and say, oh, Hadi lied to me. Kurds are not 1 million. Kurds are at least 18 million in Turkey.
Yeah.
And if I tell you in Syria there is no Kurds, everybody is Arab, and you type and you say, no, that's not true. So I cannot really tell you something that you cannot know.
Yeah, I think...
You can type NATO Constitution in Google and it will come up, all 7 articles. If someone attacked NATO member, it means attack the whole NATO, so everybody has to support. This is very, very well known, but there are some other NATO bylaws that are not very well known. So you have to go deeper and deeper to see.
Yeah, definitely. But I think some of those things are purposefully put out for the people that won't look into it. They just read the headline real quick or look at the pictures. I know that at least here and everywhere else on social media it happens a lot. They'll send something out, and even though it's fake and it's debunked within a few minutes, like you said, there's still a lot of people that didn't see that or believe it happened or whatever. And I think that's what things like that are for, from whatever side they come from. Here in the U.S., they come from fascists a lot, but it's meant for those people that aren't going to look into it. That just kind of believe what they see, and it's kind of like a cliche, like everything on the internet is true. Like some people believe that. So I think it's for those people, and then hopefully they'll spread the rumor and keep it going within like-minded people who won't even look it up eventually. But for the most part, yeah, it only lasts a few minutes before it's debunked and everyone knows. But there is a group of people that don't research anything, I believe.
I mean, the real war is on the psychological level. It's not the physical war. It's the psycho warfare. It's information warfare.
Yeah, it's all propaganda.
Yeah. That's why, every political activist has to be very cautious, and he has to do some cross-reference checks to see if the media outlets are, putting out the true story of what happened.
Yeah, so often they don't, especially here in the U.S. They don't. They'll put out the story, but they'll skew it in a way where it makes the activists look really bad and the government look like they were just doing their job, and it's not really a fair or accurate representation generally. Like if the police shoot somebody, they'll show the guy's mugshot instead of a picture of him, happy graduating from college and stuff. If he's black or Hispanic or Latino or something. But if he's white, they'll show a picture of him smiling in a suit from a high school graduation sometimes. If he's killed somebody. It's just like it's constant propaganda, and I think a lot of people are starting to see through it more. Again, thanks to social media and the internet in general. But yeah, Hadi, I'm gonna ask you, for the people listening here, what in your opinion, what should they be doing and could they be doing to help end this Kurdish genocide and to spread awareness for it all over the world?
I mean, unfortunately, we have to work with the governments. We have our own representatives, our senators, our member of parliaments, our politicians. I mean, we have to write to them. Also, the media. We have to ask media to let the Kurdish people like me and other political activists to have a chance to speak the truth. I am writing to CNN, Washington Post, and New York Times, and NBC and CBS that I want to be on their show and I want to be a voice of the Kurdish concerns, Kurdish struggle. But they are not answering me. They know sooner or later the truth will be told by someone like me. And it will be a chain reaction. And if millions of people asking them that, why there is no Kurdish experts talking on the US TV, European TVs, there are panel programs, 5 experts are talking and none of them are Kurd. And they are talking about the Kurd. But what the Kurd says, what the Kurd thinks, nobody is asking.
Do you think that's done intentionally?
Of course. Because they know we can prove Turkey is involved in ISIS sponsorship. We can prove Turkey is a racist regime. We can involve Turkey is involved in genocides and war crimes. Just like Iraq was proven with the Iraqi War Crimes Tribunal. What happened to Saddam Hussein? He was hanged. Same thing can happen to Turkish politicians, Syrian politicians, Iranian politicians. They are involved.
The Kurds were really involved big time with bringing down Saddam, were they not?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, it was a war of survival. I mean, you are fighting against chemical gas, chemical weapons. You have a bullet in your hand. You can shoot once, but when he shot, you can shoot 10,000, 20,000, 50,000.
Yeah.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we shot 1 million, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, Saddam Hussein was killed very cheap, I mean, he's supposed to really trial for the genocide against the Kurds. He was trial for killing 163 Shias in Basra. He was not trial for the Kurdish genocide.
And they executed him really fast, like right away.
Yeah, because the Shias get their chances, but the Kurds didn't. There's a guy known as Chemical Ali, Hassan Ali Majid. He was saying, I will gas all the Kurds. And his trial case same. He was not trial for genocide of Kurds. I mean, the Kurdish genocide still not taken to court. Kurdish genocide in Syria, Kurdish genocide in Iran, Kurdish genocide in Turkey, still waiting to be in a war crimes tribunal and face the justice.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. Like, they could have, I mean, I wish they'd do that with our leaders here, a lot of them, even our, like Kissinger and Bush and Cheney and Obama, all of them. These people are war criminals. But I think they should try them for every crime. If they're going to execute them, that's fine. But after they've been tried and, shamed, and their people with them have been shamed and publicly outed or jailed, whatever, you know what I mean? But it just seems like with Saddam, they just kind of wanted him dead really, really fast.
Yeah, but when USA invaded Iraq, they created a transitional period government, and they sent a guy. The first guy they sent was Jay Garner. He was a former general, and he wanted to do a different way, just like the General James Marshall, the Marshall Plan for after World War II. He had a different idea about Iraq, and then they took him off, and they sent another guy, Paul Bremer. And what he did, he told the Iraqi army, go home. He told the Iraqi Ba'athist party officials, go home. He disbanded them. That was a huge mistake. And they reorganized, and now they are fighting against the U.S. in Iraq, and they are fighting the Iraqi government. And I wrote about it at that time, 1992, 1993. I wrote about it. I said, this can be done this way. I mean, simple political science, I don't know, Pol Sci 101. You cannot, create your own enemy with your stupidity. I'm sorry to say that, but
yeah, but it's true.
Yeah. Now, same thing that if Iraqi, let's say Syria, now there's a Syrian civil war. If you take if you take Assad off the power, how are you gonna find new consensus that the Kurds and Islamists and secular Arabs, Christian Arabs, and Alawis will live together? It's not possible. They destroyed Syria. The only thing holding Syria together is today because Kurds are not fighting Assad government. What's the Kurds' benefit fighting the Assad government? Nothing. Syrian government has an air force. Syrian government has chemical weapons. Syrian government has national army still. It's not the benefit of the Kurds to fight Assad. Same thing with the Russians. They don't, tell the Kurds, obey Assad and become peaceful and don't ask for any rights. It's only Turkey saying, I will occupy Syria, I will take Assad off the government, I will call Kurds terrorists, I will bring my way, my peace to the Syria. USA doesn't say that. NATO doesn't say that. Then we will say, who are you? This is not even Turkish land. But other than the Kurds, no one is opposing Turkey. USA is not opposing Turkey. NATO is not opposing Turkey. Russia is not opposing Turkey. This must change. And the change is in our hand. We have to force our own government to stop supporting Turkey, to stop calling Turkey ally.
I agree. So everybody just needs to spread awareness and wake people up to the fact that it's going on. I think a lot of people don't know what's going on in a lot of places in the world, much less right where they are. especially in the United States.
I supported Donald Trump campaign. I didn't want Hillary Clinton and Democrats came. They are blind supporters of Turkey. They are very anti-Kurdish, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like either option.
Yeah. It was Bill Clinton, when he was in power, the president of PKK, Abdullah Öcalan, was arrested in Kenya and given to Turkey. And he was writing to Bill Clinton that I want USA help us make peace in Turkey. And USA said, no, we will support Turkey. We don't want peace in Turkey. We will help Turkey to crush Kurds.
Yeah.
And I want that change. I want USA to understand that the Kurds are not a threat to USA. PKK is not a terrorist organization. On the contrary, Turkey is a terrorist state, and Turkey is the one hostile to the West and hostile to the USA.
Yeah, they're all bad. I think Turkey's just really, really bad. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. They give us these two candidates that are both fascists. Both of them are pretty evil and wicked and the same at the same time. And I can't ever back either candidate. But that's just, everybody's different with politics. But what was I gonna say? Hang on, I got thrown off with that. Yeah, so we went over. People need to go ahead and spread the word and get this out there and try to get this known. What is there anything you think we missed during this interview, or that you want to talk about, or go over before we end up wrapping it up?
I mean, for a radio interview, I don't know what to say. We have a certain amount of time to talk certain issues.
Yeah.
The Kurds are fighting a war of survival because Turkey, not only in Turkey, also in Iran and Syria and Iraq, opposing Kurdish struggle to have peace and democracy. It's not the Kurds that they want to fight. The Kurds want the peace. It's the Turkey imposing the war on the Kurds. Last year, 19 Kurdish cities were bombed by the Turkish army. Over 300,000 people become homeless. They had to go find shelter with relatives in another cities, Western Turkey. Many of them even left Turkey for Europe and North America. This cannot go on like this. It must stop. And the only way we can stop that, the Kurds need outside help. We need Western world to understand that Turkey is purposefully imposing a war on the Kurds. And we are fighting for 50 years now. That's enough.
Yeah.
The truth is there. Let's discuss it. Fact-finding mission, War Crimes Tribunal, or any other alternative ways. We must bring the Turkish government and the Kurdish people on a peace table. We negotiate a solution. The Kurds, they have the land, and they have the right to rule the land. So it's either provincial rights, territorial rights, some administrative rights. Maybe it is not independent Kurdistan, but the Kurds has to live on the land with their culture and language and traditions. We want to survive as we are.
Definitely, everyone should be given those rights to do that. Basic human rights that everyone should get. The Kurds should have it. So yeah, thanks so much for doing this show. I think it was a really awesome show. I appreciate you coming on here, Hadi. We're gonna speaking of Turkey and Erdogan, we're gonna take it out. I'm gonna play an audio clip from the WIDA coalition called A Message to Erdogan. They sent it via Opserina Shim. So thanks again, Hadi. I really appreciate you doing the show. And thank you guys for listening. And I'll talk to you next show.
Thank you. Be safe and be well.
Be safe and be well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play them out with this.
Bye-bye.
President Erdogan of Turkey and any other foreign power that contributed and is actively contributing to the Free Syrian Army is responsible for the assassination of Serena Shem, but especially Erdogan and his MIT thugs, who are collectively pitiful excuses for men and mankind. Was it her blonde hair that frightened you? Was it because she's an American Lebanese woman? Because she aired your dirty laundry in Tottenham Square? Did she rattle your cage in Istanbul with just them 2 questions? She must have done all these things to you, threatening your fantasies of the old Ottoman Empire. I believe the answer to all these questions is the overwhelming yes. You, President Erdogan, are a puppet, a yes man to Western interests. I, as a Westerner, can see that, and so can the world. The puppeteers that control you could care less what happens to your land or your people, and you condone this. That makes you a cowardly tyrant and a demonic presence to the citizens of the United States. You, President Erdogan, assassinated this beautiful, strong, light-hearted, yet decisively fierce woman who has 2 young children. You took that light in their life away from them. How dare you ordain their audacity to portray this heinously cruel, inhumane act down upon this lioness-hearted woman who only reported to the world what she witnessed around her. President Erdogan, the United States' highest-ranking diplomat at the time, John Kerry, Senator John McCain, the CIA, the MIT, the Mossad, the royalty of the Saudi Arabian kingdom. I have one question for you all. Was the truth Serena Shem's crime?